Call the meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Here.
DePena?
Here.
Graziano?
Here.
Nattari?
Restroom.
Robel?
Here.
Strumelberg?
Present.
Here. Pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine notice.
Notice that this meeting has been given to the press and the public in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law.
Approval minutes.
None at this time, Mayor.
Report of the manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My first item this evening concerns the budget and some of the statements that I made at the last meeting, and basically this is a clarification because I did get a few comments from some folks that were a bit misleading, so that's why I want to clear it up. At that special meeting we had to pass the budget on October 1st, I stated the following, that the county taxes went down $25 and change, that the school taxes went down $26.89, that the township's portion went up $151.50, and the reason why, and the library went down 40 cents. All right, now that was on the average assessed home of $236,960, which would yield a net tax increase to those folks of $99.11. My clarification is this, that $99.11 related to ordinary operations, all right? But we also have to keep in mind that there was a referendum that was passed by the voters last November by 2-1, which adds another $143.72 in debt service, which increases that number from $99.11 to $269.72. So I just wanted to make that clear. When I was speaking, it was relative to ordinary operations, all right, not the referendum. And I believe the mayor had also communicated that same issue with some other folks. I just wanted to clarify that.
So the average taxpayer knows that their tax bill is made up of municipal, Board of Ed, and county. That would have been $99 without the referendum.
Correct.
That was passed by the vote.
Yes. All right. My next item this evening is relative to DPW activities, and on September 26th, we participated in a demonstration of a crack sealer machine, which can be bought or rented on a monthly basis, and also for the materials to actually do some crack sealing. So we have that, we're evaluating that, and we're going to have a pilot demonstration. We had one demonstration by the company that actually rents the equipment. We're going to do some streets and see how that works out for us. On October 3rd, we had an 8-inch water main break at 109 Union Avenue, which was repaired and replaced 2 services. Once again, we have ground out 30 stumps throughout the township. We had tree trimming of 16 trees, and half of those were actually on Heckle Street. We had 4 large patch jobs, as we refer to them, on Union Avenue, and 15 smaller ones throughout the town. We maintained 4 clean to leans. We maintained 16 township properties, and we repaired 6 street signs. That's all I have, Mayor.
Report of the mayor. This is going to sound like a broken record. I'm going to probably bring this up most of the time. I'm assuming in November we're going to begin 2019's budget.
That is correct. We've already begun duplicating the forms to go out to all the department heads. We received some of the action plans back. The other departments will be issued the forms to create their action plans so we can sit down and review them prior to actually deliberating on budget amounts.
It is our stated goal, I think, as a body to have a budget early next year.
That is correct.
So therefore, I would advise if whatever labor unions you're in contact with regarding negotiations, that they would be wise to set dates with you to get those numbers in, because if we're going to, traditionally in Belleville, we're very late with the budget. We intend on being early this year. If they don't get in and get negotiated now, they'll be waiting until 2020.
And I was in fact contacted by the head of the PDA rather, to continue some of the discussion we already started.
Sounds good to me. Quick update, do we have anywhere part of that increase that we have this year for budget? I know there's an ongoing dispute. We We believe that the library owes us north of $400,000. Do we have an update on that?
Mr. Martino could probably speak to that much better than I could. He has had some conversations. Let Steve bring you up to speed on the rest.
Yes, there's been some conversations with the library about that. They do have an attorney who's taking care of it. We've gotten accounting from finance. I know exactly what we allege that they owe. It's for, they have been paying current, but this is for prior disbursements made by the township on behalf of the library. As Mayor, as you know, the library is, by law, gets a certain amount of the tax dollars that the residents pay. It's a set percentage, and they're entitled to those funds. The amount we're looking for to be reimbursed for are advances made by the township on behalf of the library to reimburse the township for things like pension contributions, health insurance contributions, and some other things. They dispute that. I have the proofs for that, but we are in the process of hopefully resolving it such that the township will be reimbursed all of the monies that they put out. It's kind of in essence
Basically reimbursed expenses.
reimbursed expenses that the township advanced. They have already received the tax dollars that the township is obligated to provide to them under the statute. We're just looking for them to pay back money that the town advanced on their behalf. So that's,
And we believe that's north of $400,000.
yes.
Next, I have just a quick update. I know for a while we've been trying to get our on and off ramps for Route 21 cleaned. We had a meeting with DOT about a month ago regarding Washington Avenue. At that time, our liaison asked me to communicate with her any needs that we had. I did send her a rather interesting email and some photos, and that did yield results. So Route 21, at least one of the on and off entrance ramps has been cut. We're currently talking over some other streets by Main Street along Route 21 and some other ramps there where we want them to definitely be able to address. Just to sum up, we had a very great time. Columbus Day events, Italian Heritage Month events. That was very well attended, very well organized by the committee. I know Councilman Cosarelli is a part of that, and I believe Councilman Rebel is even part of the Unico. Great events. We had a parade, we had a flag raising, we had dinners, we had venues, we had all kinds of great stuff. That all went very well. I know Councilman DePena is going to just give a quick update on our Hispanic Heritage celebration that we had. I did attend along with most of the council members, and I don't see the chief here, but we had a very great, a very good police department community outreach day. Far better attended this year than I thought last year, although last year I think there was a scheduling issue. They had Spider-Man, they had all kinds of stuff for kids, games, rides, food. That was the Belleville Little League field. That was a great day. That was also the second day of our community garage sale. I think Councilman Natari was going to mention that. Last I checked, we had north of 180 households participate in that, actually sign up. I think the real number...
Actually, it's 201 was the...
201. So 201 households within the township. And that's great. That's the sense of community that we're looking to cultivate here. And those are the ones that actually downloaded the paperwork and registered. I'm sure there were a few more that did not do that. We have, looking forward, that was the past. Looking forward, we're very, very excited about this coming Friday. It's our first ever Food Truck Live Music Festival. It's going to be at the Claremont Professional Building. I've been involved in many meetings throughout the last couple of weeks. We have another one tomorrow. Our police department, our fire department, our DPW, our health, everybody seems to be ready. We're very excited about that. We're actually taking the proactive approach to communicate. A lot of our work session this evening talked about communicating to residents. We're taking the proactive approach to let people know some of the parking situations or traffic issues that we anticipate, only because of an overwhelming outpouring of support that we're seeing. So we've taken the initiative. We're putting it out there on social media, the township website, the township social media. I've been sharing it. Other council members have been sharing it. We're offering various different ways to get there. We're offering ride sharing. We're letting, we have the senior center parking lot, a Little League for an overflow. We're going to have our shuttles, our buses working to get people back and forth. There is free parking available at Claremont directly in the parking deck. There's also parking available behind Claremont at the First Cerebral Palsy Center, which actually is a stairway right down to the middle of the venue. So there's plenty of parking, but we're just looking forward to a large outpouring of people wanting to be there, and we're just trying to alleviate any problems. Well, we are very excited about that. It's a 6-hour festival, 15 different food trucks, 4 different bands playing live music, 4 different genres of music, from country to rock to oldies to a Latin band. They play for an hour and a half each. It's non-stop music on 2 different stages. And we're having our final meeting tomorrow, but I can say that it certainly appears that all departments are ready for that. Looking a little past that, we have our Veterans Day weekend, we're calling it. We have a 5K run on the 10th of November, the first ever 5K run, just like it's the first ever food truck festival. And then the next day, which is actually on Veterans Day itself, Sunday, we're having the annual parade. Township's taking more of an active role with that in conjunction with our various veterans organizations. Funds that are raised through the 5K run and anything that comes in through sponsorships or even extra money left over potentially in the budget is going directly to our veterans organizations that participate in that weekend. That's our goal, to be able to offer scholarships or direct support to that. So we're very excited about that. Last but not least, Fire Department Open House is going to be on Friday, October 19th from 6 to 8 at the Franklin Avenue Firehouse. It's always a good time to get kids to play with the fire trucks and look at the fire trucks and do all that great stuff. So that's done. I'm all done. We can go, Councilman Graziano, why don't we just come right down here? Madam Burke?
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering, all that debris is still on the street, and the house that came down for Miss
That would
Smith.
be
And
Hannes.
it's really, on Belmont
Okay.
and Geraldo, it's a wreck.
I saw the fences went up. There's
The
fences.
fences went up, but it's only a small little fence, and I'm afraid there's a deep thing there, and the 3 garages are still there. That's what I don't understand. Who's supposed to take those down?
Don't know, but the manager can
check
easily
with
get that answer tomorrow. Code enforcement.
Tomorrow it's a mess.
I'll check it first thing tomorrow.
A mess.
Deputy Mayor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I have one more other thing. Now, the firehouse opening for the new firehouse, when is that gonna be?
We had the chief here last week.
Yeah,
We had the chief here last week, they're still outfitting the interior with lockers and radio equipment and things of the like.
Okay,
We're shooting for the end of this month,
okay. Because we have a banner waiting, all lined up, so.
I'm sure.
Deputy Mayor?
Yes, Mark, we need to choose someone, either from the rec department or whatever, to spearhead this drama program that we talked about, to work with the artistic team. I know you and I did come up with a name, someone that works for the town, and you and I also agreed, talked about this. What particular person, you don't remember? Yeah.
Yes,
No,
sir.
not you, you're not connected. So we can, choose someone, because we need to get this thing
Oh,
rolling.
yes.
Also, Charles Miles III, if somebody could get in touch with him to see if he had a drama teacher, because we're going to start the classes in January, so we really can't advertise unless we have an instructor. So if somebody from your office could get in touch with him, so we can get this going and we can start advertising through the schools. I think that was from grades 3 through grade 8. Also, getting back to the garage sale, yeah, there were 201 homes, so we have grown a lot since 2 years ago, and it was a nice weekend. I went to several, and everybody seemed very pleased. Also, I wanted to talk about Halloween. What are we doing? Do we have an event planned, or I didn't receive anything on that, or what's the date on that?
Yes, the Recreation Department is planning the annual Halloween celebration. I don't know if they're calling it a spooktacular or what have you, but we are enhancing it this year. We're putting more resources into it so that it's a bigger event than it was last year.
What was the date on that, do you know?
27th.
There is a date, 27th. Thank you, Councilman.
Saturday before, okay. And again, a complaint that I do have, I didn't bring it up at the last meeting because I spoke about it, it's drama stuff. Once again, is the garbage. Okay, there's a lot of garbage on the streets after they come. A lot of people are calling. I told you, I've been picking up garbage on my own street. So again, if we can address this, speak with them. If they're not interested in being, our garbage company, we could always get somebody else, but people are really complaining about this. I do call DPW, I call your office, they call DPW. DPW is gracious enough to come out, and they're picking up garbage, and it's really not their job to pick up garbage. It's the garbage company's job to pick up the garbage. What I did hear, that in their contract, they don't have set hours. So as soon as they finish, they can leave. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they're rushing, because everything is being thrown all over the place. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you. First, I wanted to report that October 1st, we successfully opened our early childhood enrichment program with 12 children, and I am very happy to announce Ms. Carroll is doing a great job, and just wanted to say thank you to all the parents, everyone that shared the information with other families. We actually have a few parents already interested for the following year. They have 3-year-olds that we couldn't take into the program, but we're looking into ways of expanding this program for the following year and better serving our community, but we're doing great. I was able to walk in on day one, brought in some lunch, got to meet the families. So we do have some really great families. Our parents are volunteers on a weekly basis, so that is also very helpful to the program. Also, last Saturday, we had our first Hispanic Heritage event, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone that supported the event. We had music, we had food, we had support from local restaurants, and I still till today I'm receiving calls and emails, which make me very happy because we did work hard to put it together, and it's great to feel appreciated. But one of the things that really stuck with me is people are saying this was an event of unity, and it was inspirational, and that to me meant a lot, because that's really what the event was about, bringing people together and highlighting the contributions of our residents. We were able to honor Mr. Emmanuel Molina, who has been a Cub Scout leader for over 10 years, Little League coach, who's been doing incredible things for the community, as well as Joe Monroy, who is Mr. Belleville, a senior in high school. And this is what it was really all about. We also acknowledge all of our first responders and township employees of Hispanic Heritage. And I just wanted to lastly say thank you to our chief for putting together an incredible team that day in order to do crowd control and organizing our traffic pattern as well. So everything was went smooth, and it was great. So thank you.
Next up, our newest member of the Veterans Parade Committee, Councilman Cosarelli.
By default, he's parade duty.
Yeah, I'm a parade guy. Mauro, can you update us a little bit on the street paving?
They actually started paving
My street's
Belmont
beginning to
Avenue
get-
today.
Yes, they did. Belmont,
Charles,
thank you.
Uh,
Belmont Avenue was done.
Yes, and the milling is continuing on. There, I believe, we also posted on the website a schedule as to where they will be going next. So we are well underway. Hopefully the weather's going to cooperate with us and we're going to get everything
And Wilson
done.
Place was done too.
And Wilson
And
Place.
Smolden Avenue.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman. Maybe let's just ask Marie next time.
Next time.
That's right, Director.
Through the chair, yeah. Thank you, Mr. President.
I was going to ask about paving, but I
Councilman
got upstage.
You got upstage.
The JIF funded information assurance training tomorrow, and my understanding is, and for those that don't know, it's basically to help protect against ransomware attacks and phishing attacks. It's part of our cybersecurity program. And one of the things I found out is that I think only 20 people in our town have taken it of our employees, and I just want to make sure the rest of them get there and take that program. It's online, so they can do it right from their desks. It's fairly simple. I mean, a lot of towns have gotten hit with ransomware, and it's cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix. So,
I work for 2 JIFs, and they are no longer willing to pay the ransomware if we're not trained.
That's true.
So we hit a bad link, one of our employees hits a bad link, it's in, and they're paying $30,000 in Bitcoin to somebody in a different country.
We will remind all of the departments once again that this is something that's important, something they should do.
thank you.
That's it. Moving on, communications.
A notice received from the New Jersey State League of Municipalities proposing a 2% increase in league dues for calendar year 2019. Dues for the Township of Belleville for 2018 were $2,520. With a 2% increase, it will be approximately $2,570. The letter of resignation received from Michael Gengeruso, member of the Transportation Committee.
Ordinance for introduction?
Ordinance number 1 for introduction. An ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-16, handicapped parking spaces.
Motion to move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2 for introduction. An ordinance authorizing sale of township-owned property not needed for public use by private sale pursuant to NJSA 48:12-13B5.
Motion to move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 3 for introduction. An ordinance amending Chapter 23 zoning ordinance of the Township of Belleville.
Motion to move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Ordinance public hearing and second and final reading.
Ordinance number 1 for public hearing, and ordinance to amend ordinance number 34900, creating personnel positions and adopting classification and compensation plans.
Motion open for public hearing.
Second.
Motion made second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Mr. Frantantoni?
Got a question, Mr. Mayor. The ordinance says it gives an hourly rate.
Can I
Is
just,
this gonna be
Ben,
a
I'm sorry to do this.
part-time
Can I just
position?
have you stand up and state your name and address for the record?
Vincent Frank D'Antoni, 129 Mount Prospect Avenue. The ordinance says it gives an hourly rate. Is this going to be a part-time position?
I believe it is, yes. I think we're doing it through a shared, are we doing it through a shared service, or are we just going to put a part-time on this?
Right now, we're testing whether or not we can get everything accomplished with a part-timer who is in fact a QPA, which means we can, without going out to bid, we can go up to $40,000, which most of our purchases and most of our service contracts are below that. So it streamlines operations and
Saves us money.
will not create a need for additional personnel. As I'm sure you're aware, our former purchasing agent was not able to get that QPA designation because it's not something that's easy to get, and it caused us to go out and to work under the old rules, which anything over, I believe it was $3,000, you needed 3 quotes, and anything over $17,500, you need to go out for formal bid. So with this new part-timer, a lot of that goes away, it streamlines operations, it creates less time that the other personnel in purchasing department have to spend on getting us the goods and services that we need.
Because I was aware our former girl that handled that didn't have the qualification,
Right.
but we had designated the town manager as a purchasing agent. I think that was when Mr. Esposito was here.
The former person, to the best of my knowledge, was just the purchasing agent, not the QPA.
Not a QPA.
Right.
Exactly.
And now that was a full-time job, now we're gonna get a QPA, which allows us to go above the
Right.
limit for just a part-time position. So we're going from a full-time to a part-time, we're getting more of a service out of the employee.
So this part-time one, is this a present employee?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So we're only going, this person is going to be on a part-time basis when needed?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. Any benefits?
No better.
No,
No.
part-time. Decisions. Sir?
Eugene Simmons, address is 45 Cedar Hill Avenue. I want to say thank you, council, for passing.
Sir, I'm gonna,
On the ordinance, sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry, sir. You can have a chance in a second, that's during public commenting, okay?
Thank you.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
and, move for final adoption.
Motion to close, and second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
The ordinance is approved.
Motion to,
Public comment?
motion to open the public comment?
Second?
Motion made in second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Sir, I'll start with you again.
My name is Eugene Simmons, address is 45 Cedar Hill Avenue. I want to say thank you for doing the reversal on Cedar Hill Avenue from home to Geraldine. All right, but we still got to try to work on some of the streets here in Belleville because we still got to do the stripping on certain streets, especially Geraldine, going from Franklin all the way down to Main Avenue. There's not either a yellow line to let people know going from north and south, you know, which side of the street on turning lanes and whatever else that has to be. Some of these streets, if you ride down, looks terrible. There's no lines on the streets. Now, if someone has an accident, I don't know how the police officer is going to write this up if there's no lines on the pavement. Because you're supposed to have lines on the pavement to let the person know to stay on their side of the street. So again, I don't know how it's going to be written up as an officer when he has to go for an accident. And my next question and my final one is my speed bumps for Cedar Hill Avenue. I've been going up and down certain streets in Bloomfield and Belleville that have speed bumps. And the last board council that was there saying that it couldn't be put on the street because of the snowplow. Now, when I mentioned this last time, is that there's problems with the snowplow. Now, the blocks that already have speed bumps, it's no problem. But I just want to know why Cedar Hill Avenue can't right now have speed bumps in order to stop the speeders. Between 12 and 2 a.m. in the morning, we got the young generation trying to see whose car can run fastest from one end of the town, from one end of the block to the other end. Now, you know, it can't be done. People got to sleep at night. And the young generation, again, wants to see whose car can run fast. And I'm like this, if we don't get the speed bumps, someone from on my block is going to be seriously hurt, and then it's going to be a big issue for the person, whoever gets hurt. So I just want to know, please, let's try to see if we can get our speed bumps on the block before anybody gets hurt. Thank you.
I don't see the chief here, sir. I will tell you that he's aware of the striping issue for Geralma Street. He's already gotten prices to quotes to stripe that. And speeding is an issue that we've been dealing with for a while now. Every single person wants speed bumps on their street, I can tell you that. I can also tell you that our police department has hesitations, as well as our fire department, because emergency vehicles tend to not like speed bumps, because until you're in the back of an ambulance trying to get to the hospital and have to slow down for various speed bumps on the way, it's an issue. So speeding is an issue. We are doing, because of the overwhelming complaints that we receive from residents like yourself and that we receive as elected officials, our police department, and we could probably make those statistics available online, did a lot of increased enforcement. We did speed traps, we did radars, we've done it, we're actively doing it. I can tell you that in the most recent plethora of traps and radars, my street was actually the fastest street, Bernice, and the police chief is my next door neighbor. And so it's speeding is a problem. I don't necessarily know if speed bumps an issue. I wish I could give speed bumps to everybody. Everybody wants them. And there is an issue with snow plowing, because until it snows and you can't get as close to that bump as you want, you might not live on a street with snow, but it is an issue. I wish we could do it their way. We just really can't. We really can't.
I just want to say something regarding what you're saying, Mayor, is that as long as it can come up enough to stop the vehicle, that's all I want.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be high up, just to slow the person down. Because if you mess with your catalytic converter underneath, your car gonna stop right then and there. I just want it so it can be enough to keep them from slowing, so that
I
they can slow
understand.
down.
I've asked the police department to explore different options for speeding. So we're waiting on that feedback.
Thank you.
Mr. Antoni?
Phyllis Frank Antoni on Prospect Avenue. I wanted to ask, back, it had to be maybe in April, when 2 other council members were on, 4 of you were still there, Mr. Tucci's here. A woman came here and asked for a handicap playground. And it was supposed to be looked into for the old rifle range, shooting range. Was anything ever done with that for a handicap playground for handicapped kids?
Is that the end of your comment? Why don't you get all your comments out and then we'll take one at a time.
And going on the same bandwagon with the marijuana bill that Governor Murphy wants to pass. There are many towns. There's Old Tappan, Carlstadt, Franklin Lakes, Hawthorne, Wayne, Palisades Park, Garfield, Lodi, Hasbrook Heights, Westwood, Mawau, Midland Park, Upper Saddle River, Woodcliff Lakes, Garfield, Franklin Lakes, East Rutherford, Clifton, Chatham, and so on. They have passed ordinances to not permit manufacturing, processing, warehousing, and distributing or selling in their town. I would hope our town would do something like that. We don't need that here. I don't care what anybody says, it's a gateway drug. I've got articles galore on it that I've cut out. I've been to hearings on it, and if you listen to the doctors and the professionals, it's a gateway drug. It's not something just to make you relax. Baloney. My cousin died from taking that gateway drug and went on to other stuff because he couldn't get the high off of marijuana anymore. So please consider passing an ordinance on that we don't have it in our town. Unless you don't want to pass it because you do get money from the state, which is really ridiculous. And one more thing I wanted to bring up. With the townwide yard sale, there was no advertisement until the Friday before on the website. Nothing was in the paper. And why would you have an outreach program with the police on the same weekend as a townwide yard sale? I think that should have been planned a little differently than having it on the same day as the yard sale.
Thank you. Mr. Tucci, did you follow? I'm sorry, Mr. Tucci, I know you want to respond to
Yes,
this.
as far as that handicapped playground is concerned, we had our grants person look into that. They haven't located funding for that as of yet, all right, but they are still looking. I will follow up with them and see what their progress is to
Okay.
date.
All right.
Mr. Mafucci?
Victor Mafucci, 61 Continental Avenue. From earlier in the meeting, my neighbor had put out mirror glass. It was like full-length dressing mirrors. The garbage men would not take them because they said they were too big. So were you supposed to cut them yourself? I mean, I don't get it. And as far as the frame around your storm door, that might have been considered like white goods, like a refrigerator, any of the metal stuff. So maybe that's why they did not take it. I don't know.
Oh, no, they did take, oh,
Somebody took it.
no, they did,
Garbage
the town
bags?
did take the frame of the window, of the, if I may, through the door, they just didn't take the frame of the bed.
Oh. As far as sign coverage on stores, I thought it was supposed to be 25%.
I said 50 before,
I
you
thought you
may be
mentioned
correct.
50.
I might be looking at the old ordinance.
Okay. And I know the police prefer not to have the windows covered.
Absolutely.
Uh,
And you know what, I think most businesses just don't understand that. They don't understand that if you're inside that store and a 911 call comes in, they have to come through the door. They kind of want to have eyes on what's going on before they get through the door. And I
And
just
just
don't think
cruising
people understand that.
past, they can see in even if there's nothing going on. You also mentioned about the newsletters. I was just wondering, how do they handle like apartment buildings?
Postal patron. So it would go to every postal page.
Postal.
It would, every
Oh,
mailbox would
okay,
get one.
every postal page,
Yeah.
thank you. I understand the tax bills have come out. Does that include the adjustment for the bond?
Yes.
Okay. I hadn't gotten my mail yet today, so I didn't know. And afraid to open it now. By the way, the 99 average for me was a little over 200. So that's why I'm not looking forward to this.
That was on the average home.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously, your assessment is higher than that.
You have a nice home.
Thank you. Oh, Resolution 5, I thought we had already gotten $1 million grant for the track. Is this the same thing, or is this something different?
This is, I think, the next year.
Yes.
It's for another million.
Oh,
We
okay.
we already banked $1 million.
We're
No
not
money.
right.
Okay, thank you.
We're going.
We'll get as much as we can for that.
Let's see which one. Number 6, I just curious, who's Roberta Almeida?
Township employee.
Employee in the town.
She's the deputy court clerk.
Oh, okay, thank you. I've never heard the name before, actually. And number 12, I understanding you're rescinding what was passed previously. So what is the status of that potential development?
We're gonna,
Once you pass.
We're going to explain
we're
it.
gonna explain that when we pull it off the agenda, off
Okay,
the consent.
okay. And I didn't quite understand the orders for introduction number 3, the zoning board changes.
Just the definition. Ordinance number
I mean,
3.
I realize you're adding a couple permitted uses in the BF zone. I just
Mr.
don't,
Fucci, when you're done with your comments, I'll have the attorney,
Yeah.
It's just
I
a
just don't
definition.
quite understand the BG zone. And I believe that's the last one.
Thank you. So, Mr. Martino, he drafted it, I'm sure he can speak to it. I believe it was retail shopping center related, that just includes now the
What happened was,
restaurant.
it was really to clarify the definition as to the planned retail. It just had service and retail in it. It didn't describe what type of service or retail, it just was a generic service and retail. So it wasn't clear either to anyone trying to put a business in, or frankly, the building department, because it wasn't clear as to what that was. As to the, I think you also wanted to address
It's G that I
the J, yeah. That too was a clarification, because of, they're not big banquet halls. It's on, most of that zone is Washington Avenue for smaller venues, and there's a smaller venue there, and that's why that's added.
So the only change is the addition of banquet hall?
That's the only change.
Oh, okay, since there were 3 lines.
No, that was the only change. That's the only change to the BG zone.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Frantantoni.
Vincent Frank Antoni, 129 Mount Prospect. I'm glad that Mr. Tucci corrected about the tax bill. If you remember that last Monday when I confronted him and the auditor trying to get an answer, I couldn't get a legitimate answer because I knew it was going to be a lot more than $99. As I left the house today to get the meeting, my mailman was coming up. I went back in and ripped them. I didn't calculate it. It looks like I got about a $300 tax increase on my house, and one of my other properties over $400. So it was far from this $99 thing that was said at that meeting.
A large percentage of that is the referendum that was passed by the voters last November.
Yeah, I understand. Look, I go to Board of Eds, I go here, so I knew what the dollar amount was. But we got a town manager, we had an auditor that couldn't come up with those answers. And this happens every year at the budget hearings, Mr. Mayor. So somebody's got to be more knowledgeable about this.
I think it was just a miscommunication, because that evening I was communicating online, and I distinctly wrote $99 tax increase plus the referendum dollar amount.
And in regards to the tax bill, for years I've been saying, we all know Councilman Burke, against it, these illegal apartments. I've been yelling about, I have a house in Toms River, I get my tax bill, in the tax bill is 4 or 5 pages of notices, they tell you, about this stuff, at no extra cost. And by the way, just as an aside, I get down there, all the way from Toms River, with all these additional notices in the envelope, 33 cents because they get bulk. Belleville, we're still paying the full rate. I went to the post office about 3 or 4 years ago, Mr. Esposito was the manager, and I go to all the applications. Belleville can file an application to get bulk rate when you send all these mails out, and we're not doing it. I mean, I don't understand, we have all these high-paid people, $100,000, $200,000 salaries. Here, a citizen comes, gives you the information. In fact, I gave it twice, once to Victor Canning, and once I gave him to when Mr. Esposito was the manager. Why are we paying 46 cents and Toms River can send me all this literature for 33 cents at a bulk rate? You know? No, we're doing all these lovely things to the food truck and all. We're not counting the dollars that we're wasting. And also in your work session there, the Jackie Communications and Vision Media, just a question, did either one of these work on your campaign, Mr. Mayor?
Only Vision Media.
All right. Some of the things that they said that you want them to do and all that, if you read the administrative code, a lot of these things are the duties of the township manager. If we had a township manager that worked 5 days a week instead of 2 days a week, we could save all the money and we'd get things done. I went to your office this morning about the problem down the road there on Stevens Street. I called Mr. Tucci's office. He wasn't in this morning when I called. That's why I came to you, and I don't know if you went down and saw it.
Vinny, just for the record, I do work 5 days a week. Just 5 days a week. So let's tell the truth. Let's put the
You're
truth
not
out
here.
there so people are not missing.
You are not here 5 days a week.
Maybe I wasn't here when you were here.
And you know, there's an
Yes,
old
I am
saying,
here
you
5
can't
days a week.
serve 2 masters, and you certainly can't serve 4. If you're working in Nutley, and you're working at the community mental health, whatever there, the other jobs, and you're working at the county, you know.
County, I got another job at county.
The
I don't
insurance,
know about that one.
that insurance commission, whatever that is.
That's an unpaid volunteer organization
Yeah, but
that Belleville participates.
It's an obligation.
I'm on it
you know?
too, Vin. And so
I guess you're on that.
I'm on that too,
Okay.
for no money.
But a lot of those things should be done by the township manager. I mean, press release and all that. And none of these stuff, and in March, it was the second time, what happened, finally, they put in the tax bill about illegal apartments, the ordinance and all that. But it was an inch and a quarter strip of paper put in the tax bill. Most people didn't see it. It got paper stuck together within.
I just made a note to make sure we have them in the next, so it wasn't the previous one that went out, the previous time.
It was that little strip. So what I did, I gave this, in March, I gave it to it. About a year ago, I gave it to it. It should be something this big, and you guys are computer experts. I did this with my magic marker and my ruler and all that. And then I copied what you put on there. Something that when the people see their tax bill, they go. And once again, we got the tax bill today. I see how thin it wasn't in there again. And when I asked, not too long ago, Mr. Tucci, yes, we're working on a much, I think my wife asked, a much nicer one we're going to put on. Where is it? You know, Mr. Tucci is great. I like it. He says yes to everything. He agrees to the citizen. Yes, you're right, we'll get it done. Nothing gets done.
That's actually your 5 minutes.
In regards to this, welcome to Belleville signs, there was a gentleman, a citizen came before the council a couple of years ago, volunteered to paint it. And I volunteered with John, I forget his last name. I painted 3 of the signs, he painted the other ones and all that. These signs are good signs, there's 30 signs. And it took me about 45 minutes to an hour to paint each sign. They gave us the paint, the right colors, and I painted them. So I don't know why we're looking to buy new signs and all this stuff, you know. First of all, the things our public works should be doing. But again, you want to do it again, I'll volunteer to do it. You know, we can do this. And finally, in regards to the street cleaning that Mr. Graziano brought up, I have a picture on my cell phone if you want to see it. I'm working on Dewitt Avenue last week, and the sweeper comes down. And I took a picture of it because the garbage men leave the cans in the street. So here's the sweeper, you can see the picture, the sweeper has to go around, all these garbage can't clean the streets. So somebody's gotta crack down on them. I mean, they gotta get violent, they gotta be put back on the curb and all that. And finally, your cart, I like the cart, you got cleaning the street.
Is that a compliment?
It's a compliment. One little assistance, there's one can on there, there's supposed to be 2 cans on there. One for recycling and one for garbage. But everything's going into 1 can in garbage. Your bottles and cans should be recycled. So just put another can on it, fits on the cart.
Understood, got it, thank you. Mr. Jones?
Draws 95 Bell Street. Resolution number 6. Can you explain that? Was this a result of a lawsuit or somebody alleged something against somebody? What kind of payouts are here and who's responsible for the payouts?
Yeah, we will, I'll have that, is that the only question?
No, that's it.
That's it? Mr. Attorney?
That resolution, that settlement was actually approved, I think in July. This resolution is just so we can, so the town, the finance department can issue a check for it. So it had already been, it was the township share of the settlement, which not only their share of the settlement, but also we're self-insured for some of the costs as well. And it was $60,000, which is what the resolution
That's
said.
the total?
That was township's out-of-pocket total share of it.
And what's the insurance payment?
I forget off the top of my head, because that was,
But what kind of allegations were here?
Mr. Joe, we can't have a back, that's why I asked you
Oh,
to
okay,
give your
yeah.
commenting
Well,
and then.
I just figured you would give me a total explanation, I didn't have to ask.
No, because that settlement was already reached and approved by the council, I think, back in July. This was just so that, or July or August, this was just so that the check could be drawn.
One more thing, I don't want to interrupt you, but I still didn't answer my question. What was the total settlement?
The prior resolution is public record. I don't remember it off the top of my head, because that's not,
That's what this is about.
it was $200 and something thousand, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Again, this resolution isn't for that. That resolution, which is again public record, the clerk can give you the copy of the resolution, what the total settlement was, because that was in the original resolution when the mayor and council authorized the settlement.
This was a motion for this.
Make a motion to close public comment?
No.
Oh, there we go.
Jeff Mattingly, 56 Walnut. Resolution number 12, rescinding resolution number 18-59A. Could you tell me exactly what, I'm so confused by this in terms of the process. What exactly is being rescinded? Because I believe, doesn't this refer to the removal of the contractor agreement with the pilot program for the Terry Street development?
It does, we're going to pull that off the consent agenda, the town attorney's going to give an explanation on that, so if you want to just...
All right, well, in the process of doing that, then, will this result in the reinstatement of the contractor's financial agreement to that? So all those things will be reinstated as they were before it was...
You'll get a better explanation in a few minutes, but
understanding.
it's my understanding that yes, and an immediate notice will be given of termination.
It's a matter of
That's not
process.
true.
No, it's not true.
If you'll wait
Yeah.
for when it's pulled off the consent agenda, I'll explain it all.
All right, my concern
Notice
is
before.
that the financial agreement that had been drawn up with the developer for that was flawed with illegal appropriations in it. So to the point where the Office of the Comptroller, the branch investigative branch of the AG's department, was interested in seeing that, and I forwarded it to them because it was something that they were very concerned about. So I'm concerned about it. Is the financial agreement that had illegal provisions contained within it will be reinstated?
That's... Mr. Attorney, we're going to get into that when we pull it off. That may very well be your opinion that they were illegal, though, just to set the record straight. That's your opinion.
Okay. All right, we'll wait for that.
Mr. Gershon?
Yes.
Jerry DeGursho, 8 Grove Street. I'm asking a question, this is the only question I really have.
and that is the ordinance for introduction number 3 concerning a change in the zoning ordinance. Is that now going to be referred to the planning board for review and recommendation?
It does not have to be, no.
Does not have to be?
No, it does not.
It's language, right?
Well, I'm reading the ordinance, and it doesn't say nothing about a definition. That's why I'm asking the question, because you said there was a problem with the definition. All it says is neighborhood retail and neighborhood service, but there's no definition in the ordinance.
The zoning code has the definition.
The zoning code already has it.
Yes.
So what you're doing is adding neighborhood retail and neighborhood service
Correct.
to this zone.
Correct.
And that doesn't need review by the planning board?
No.
You're sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. I have a few questions and comments arising from the discussion. Now it's a quick 5 minutes.
That was quick.
Jerry had a couple extra seconds.
Part of the space-time continuum.
Just a few questions and comments regarding some of the matters that were discussed during the work session. Firstly, with garbage pickup, etc., putting aside that my street, Floyd Street, hasn't been swept now for at least the last 3 weeks, there was a discussion a few years back among the council of changing the start time for cars to be removed from when you have alternate side of the street parking, to move that back from 7:30 to 8:30 as an accommodation to residents, to allow them to have a little bit more time in the morning when they're rushing to try to get to work, get ready for work, to get the kids to school, to move things back from 7:30 to 8:30. And it seemed to be very well received by the council at that time, something I just would like you guys to reconsider as a concession, as an improvement to quality of life for the community. There was discussion about the updating of the Code 360 online ordinance system. I'm glad to see that's finally happening. And I know I'm aware of the fact that updates haven't been made literally for the last 15, 16 years, since 2002. Ms. Kavanaugh made a comment during the work session, which I just didn't quite understand. She said that a person was paid $14,000 2 years ago to begin to update things, but yet Mr. Martino said that there haven't been any updates for the last 16 years, so I'm trying to reconcile those two things. Were there some updates made a few years ago, or if not, then what did that $14,000 go for to presumably pay somebody to do updates? So something you guys can look into. Another thing that you might consider doing as you improve transparency and openness and make better utilization of the municipal website, it would be nice, and I tried to do this for 3.5 years and got nowhere, but to have the full text of resolutions, ordinances, etc., posted to the township website. Many other communities do this. In particular, Mr. Tucci knows that Nutley has been making full text of ordinance, resolutions, etc. available on their website for years. They also make the bill list available, which is something the Board of Education began doing at the beginning of this year. Lastly, I just want to make a comment about the tax levy increase. I was here last week when you had the special meeting. Mr. Facone made several comments about the Board of Education budget, which I knew were incorrect. He had said during that hearing that he used the previous year budget to calculate the current year budget, and I realized that he must be missing the impact of the referendum. So I pulled him aside after that meeting and asked him, are you sure you have all your ducks in a row? And he said, well, I have what your BA sent me. So he said, why don't you do me a favor, have your BA, Matt Palladino, contact me the following morning. I contacted Palladino, he did carry through. And they discovered that even though Matt had given the town hall the A4F form in proper time, and he had a receipt to document that it had been transmitted, Mr. Facone never used that A4F. He went back to the previous year, which did not include the referendum. So I had a number of online email discussions with Mr. Palladino during the course of last Tuesday, and what we discovered was that RBA had informed Mr. Facone that we needed approximately another $1.92 million relative to last year to deal with new expenses. And since you guys work on a normal calendar year, January through December, we work on a July to June. Splitting that in half, we needed another $961,000 to get through the rest of your calendar year, or the first half of our academic year. And that is the essence of why the tax increase is much higher than what was initially advertised. I got my tax bill today, I have a home which is pretty much right at the median assessed value, about $240. My taxes went up by almost $240 for this fourth quarter, not 99, not 151, it's almost 250.
Well, no, it was 99 plus the 150 for the referendum. So
Right.
that comes to about the right number.
Yeah, but what-
69.72.
Right. But even earlier this evening, Mr. Tucci said the Board of Education tax dropped by $27. That's not correct. When we passed our budget in May, it was a $28 increase in the levy. So I'm still not really 100% sure about these numbers that are being tossed around. We actually asked for another $28 for our new budget, but Mr. Tucci said that there was a $27 decrease in the Board of Education budget. So again, a lot of numbers being thrown around here. I'm taking notes as quickly as I can and doing back of the envelope calculations, but things still don't seem to add up properly. So I would be very happy if you guys could produce an official notice, put it on the website, explaining in succinct terms without having to be a lawyer or an accountant, exactly what has happened with the budget increase for this year, so everybody is on the same page. So, lastly, if I still have a couple minutes, because, well, I haven't heard
You're over.
the time. All right,
You can just sum up.
just real quick. We have a referendum, as you know. We're doing major improvements in our schools. One of those things, we're replacing all the lighting in our buildings with high-tech LED lighting. I've been in this room now too much over the last 10 years. I've always despised the quality of this lighting, which I guess is regular incandescent bulbs. Home Depot has the retrofit kits, LED lighting, for two units per box, $14. Might be a nice thing to consider, swapping out these lights, these incandescent bulbs, and putting in LED.
These are LED lights.
These are LED. They look like regular
Really
incandescent.
correct. You changed them out? Yeah.
Are you sure those are LED? Because they certainly look like
Well, I've been informed,
incandescent.
we'll double check it, but that's.
All right. Well, please do. Please look into it. If not, swap these out with LEDs. It would be better lighting. And when you look at the camera quality, the lighting in here would be great for a restaurant or after hours. But it really, we need more of a business lighting effect in here, in my opinion. All right, thank you.
Motion?
Motion to close.
Motion made and second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli? Yes. DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Motion to move the consent agenda.
Can I get a motion to move the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second for the consent agenda. Any, we're going to pull number 12, Madam Clerk. That's it. We're going to pull 12 and move the consent agenda. Good?
Yes.
We have a motion?
Yeah.
And
Seconded.
we got a second already? Motion made and second for the consent agenda. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes, before I vote,
You just did.
I'm sorry, I said,
Yes,
I'm
no.
sorry. Not for now, but is it possible, Mr. Tucci, that I can get Comcast and Verizon, all the internet bills and stuff like that, the numbers for the past months, if you
You can
will?
explain all that in new business.
New business.
Don't rush now.
Okay,
Yeah, do the new business.
so yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Motion to move resolution 12.
Motion and move for resolution 12. Before we do that,
You want to talk about it?
yeah, before we do that, can we get Mr. The town attorney to just give us an update on that?
Yes, that resolution is rescinding a resolution that was passed in February.
Person I wanted to hear that is not here.
He left, I saw that.
That's all right.
But I think there was somebody else had a question about it.
Where?
Yeah, but which had a question. So that is rescinding a resolution that was passed back in 2008, February of 2018, by the prior administration. That resolution, passed in February of 2018, rescinded the resolution approving the redevelopment agreement for 91 Terry Street and appointing the redeveloper. So in February of 2018, the mayor and council at the time rescinded the redevelopment agreement for 91 Terry Street. The unfortunate thing was, under that redevelopment, and they rescinded it, presumably, I can't recreate the facts, I couldn't recreate what happened, because there was no real discussion on it. But presumably they did it because the redeveloper had breached the redevelopment agreement. Unfortunately, under that redevelopment agreement, when there is a breach, the township has an obligation to give the redeveloper notice that they breached and give them 60 days to cure that breach. Unfortunately, the township didn't give the redeveloper the notice of the breach. They just, mayor and council at the time, on advice of the then town attorney, rescinded the resolution approving the redevelopment agreement. That would have been appropriate if the proper procedure had been followed, they had been given notice, they didn't cure their breach in 60 days, and then they would have been in breach of the agreement, truly been in breach of the agreement, and then it could have been rescinded. Unfortunately, that didn't occur. As a result of that, February of 2018 resolution rescinding the agreement, a lawsuit was filed against the town because they breached the redevelopment agreement by failing to give proper notice. I have since, I'm representing the town in that action together with someone from the insurance company, but my review of that revealed that the township didn't give the proper notice, and that part of the complaint is just right. The township didn't do it correctly. So by passing this resolution, what the township will then do, the redevelopment attorney will then do, is give the proper notice under the redevelopment agreement. So yes, by passing this resolution, the redevelopment agreement would be put back in place in response to Mr. Mattingly's question. It will be put back in place because it should never been rescinded. The proper notice will be sent out to the redeveloper, and they will be held to the redevelopment agreement. As to the financial agreement, and he did indicate that, it puts everything back in place. It all falls together. But the redeveloper will be back in place, and if they comply with the redevelopment agreement, then the redevelopment will go forward as is set forth in the redevelopment plan.
And if they don't comply?
If they don't comply, as I said, if they don't comply, then we'll be in a breach of the agreement, and the township has remedies within the redevelopment agreement that the township will take.
So, motion,
Motion to move resolution 12.
Second.
Motion made, second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Melvin?
Yes. New business? Councilor Graziano?
Yes, I'm just asking if I can get a list of bills for the wireless, which consist of the MiFis, iPads, and cell phones. I see that high, I believe it to be high, just in what I know, the Comcast bills and the Verizon bills on a monthly basis.
You would like, excuse me, you would like copies of...
Copies of it, yeah, which will have the account numbers and
I think that you want the monthly bill.
So you just
what
want...
those, because then I'm going to ask the detail behind that later on.
Anybody else in new business?
Yeah, the legal apartments, that's one of my things that I'm always on because there's so many around and it's ruining our town. And I do think that we really should have the first, second, and third ward have the inspectors in those places. Because first they come here and then they run to the other side of town and then they run this way and that way. We really need to do something. And I tried many years, Sunset and Bloomfield, what they did, they had the cops there going in with the people to check the houses. And somebody said that, Mr. Murphy, when he was the attorney, it was illegal to do that and all this other stuff. Maybe we should see what is legal to do it so we can start doing what we should because it's ruining our town.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Put on for next work session, check that out.
Yeah, real quick, just to address the speeding on Cedar Hill. For you, sir, we do have the police department looking into a four-way stop sign on Cedar Hill and Mayor Street, which would definitely help, so it wouldn't be a straight shot all the way down.
Okay.
So that's in the works, so hopefully they come back with some positive news.
Thank you.
Motion adjourned?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion made, second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Here.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.